to a new video on our channel FPL Nerds. My name is Timo.
And my name is MJ.
And today we picked a few players for you that impressed through game week 1 and some players that also can have potential value in the upcoming game weeks and their performance.
Alright, so basically what we did is that we had a list of players and we divided it into 4 main categories: defense, midfielders, forwards, as well as some honorable mentions. I say we start with the defense. Timo?
Yeah, sure, let's check it out. Okay, so today we chose 4 defenders for you from the game week 1, and these are the defenders. We start off with Cancelo, and as we saw, Man City did a really good opening game as they dominated the whole match. They confined West Ham to their own half almost the whole match with a very high percentage of possession.
Yeah.
So he got us only 7 points as he didn't have any goals or assists, but got 2 bonus points with a yellow card, which deducted 1 more point. Although he had 1 chance created, and he seems pretty attacking and involved in all in the Man City attack in general. No increase in price so far, but he's at a 45% ownership, so it's quite high. And actually, I think a lot of us will be thinking maybe of doubling up on the defense of Man City because of the very nice fixture coming up this upcoming game weeks. Any thoughts about it, MJ?
Yeah, I really like the way Cancelo looked, the way he was involved in most of the Manchester City build-up, as well as the defensive part. To be honest, we didn't really get the chance to see West Ham play. At the end, at the final whistle, West Ham had 25% possession. So basically, we cannot really judge how good the defense of Manchester City is. What we can say is that so far they don't give the chance of the opponents to attack in the first place. So I really do like the double up on Manchester City defense, and I think Cancelo will be most probably the highest scoring defender in that team.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. Okay, so let's move on to the next one, which is James. Well, to be completely honest, I didn't like really Chelsea's form in the first match. They barely won the match with 1 goal, which came from a penalty, from a tackle on Chilwell, and then Jorginho, of course, converted the goal. Always on the penalties when he's on the pitch. Got also 7 points, so and a clean sheet with 1 bonus point. He's still also at 6 million, no price rises, and although he created 3 chances. So it seems that he's still doing what he used to do and attacking as much as possible. I would say he's a keep for now. Let's see what they're gonna do against Spurs and then reassess from there if we keep him or we move somewhere else. Thoughts?
Actually, I don't have too many thoughts on Chelsea in general. As you already said, they barely won with 1-0 with a penalty, and they played a team, Everton, which is not in their best form. They have issues with the squad. They don't have a striker. Basically, their striker at this point is Gordon, which is actually a midfielder. So I can't really give an opinion yet on the Chelsea defense. Yes, indeed, they did get the clean sheet. James was able to take 2 bonus points, considering he had the yellow card as well. So there is a possibility that he would have got 3 bonus without the yellow as well. So yeah, for me, Chelsea defense, as tempting as James might seem, for me it's still a wait and see. I want to see how they perform against a better rated team next match, for example, against Spurs.
Yeah.
Totally. So
yeah, totally agree. Okay. Alright, so third one on the list is Zinchenko, and actually Zinchenko started the match. Quite impressed us. I was especially impressed with his performance so far. He seems to be a good fit in the team, and I think as long as he's keep this kind of level, he will be starting most of the matches. He created 2 chances, got us 12 points with the assist that he got for the match. And so far he's at a little bit over 20%, so at 22% ownership with no price increase. I think Zinchenko is a good asset if you want to invest in him, and if you got him already from game week 1, I think you should keep him for now, since Arsenal have really good fixtures coming up. MJ?
Yeah, I'm actually one of the people who owns Zinchenko, and obviously I am super happy about the 12 pointer that we got, Zinchenko owners. In the same time, I could arguably say that Arsenal were a little bit lucky with the clean sheet, considering the two big saves of Ramsdale. And overall, they looked solid. However, there were some points in the match in which they made some very simple mistakes, and this gave the opportunity for the opponents to create more chances. However, in the same time, you can say that even if they were able to if they were able to keep a clean sheet, even though they didn't have their best match, I think in other matches where they perform even better, they will have higher chances of clean sheets as well. So for me, it's a definite keep. His price has already gone up by 0.1, and he's a good asset to have in your team.
Yeah, I agreed. And also, Arsenal have 5 good fixtures coming up on paper, including Fulham and Aston Villa at home and Bournemouth away. So should get us some good points there.
Exactly.
All right. So the last one on our defenders list is Trippier. Newcastle actually did a really good job for the opening game, as they kept a clean sheet. He didn't get any goals and assists, but we know that Trippier is on most of the set pieces. So there's always more potential for points there, and he actually created 2 chances. So I think Trippier is not. It's a good option, a good shout. If you have him, keep him, and let's see if Newcastle can keep up their good performance. Apart from that, do you have any other thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think he looked pretty good. On his hit map, he was mainly in the opponent's half, sometimes in the final third as well. So I think he looked pretty sharp. Also, defensively, they did not concede many chances. You might argue to say that they have a tough game week 3 and game week 5. However, if you have Andreas Pereira, I think he's a really good option for a replacement.
Yeah, actually, to be precise, they conceded 0 big chances in tie of with Man City and Tottenham, actually, in that regard. So apparently they are quite solid defensively, but that was just Nottingham Forest, and they were not really great. So let's see what they're gonna do with higher opponents. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great. So let's move on to the next category, which is the midfielders, and MJ is gonna go through it.
Let's do it. All right, so let's start with our first midfielder, which is Kulusevski. He showed great form in their match against Southampton. He actually provided 1 goal, had 1 assist as well. He created 3 chances for his teammates. He had 2 shots on target. No, actually, he had 2 shots, one of which was on target. And generally seemed pretty involved in their attack, as he showed us the previous season. He has very good attacking positioning, and he looks to be like a very good asset. Indeed, next game he will play against Chelsea, which is not an easy match whatsoever. However, showing the form that he had, I think that he actually has a good shot of returning again. And to be honest, I wouldn't really be too worried about Richarlison, since I think mainly he's been brought to be a rotation player. He might gain his minutes in the future, but at the beginning and seeing the form that Kulusevski showed, I don't really think that Kulusevski will be benched for the first game. So if you have him, very good for you. If you don't, try to see if you can fit him in your team. And yeah, I pretty much think he's a great asset. What about you, Timo?
Yeah,
What's your thought on him?
I agree. I actually regret not having him in the game week 1, as he did really good and he looked sharp in the game. And although that they're facing Chelsea next one, from what I saw from Chelsea the first game, and since Spurs scored 4 goals in the first game, I think they have a pretty good chance to get some returns even against Chelsea. And after that, it gets easier for them a bit, as the next 4 are great on paper, apart from maybe West Ham in game week 5. That could be a bit tougher, but other than that, I think Spurs could do great.
Exactly. Also, I would like to add the fact that now, since most of the managers moved to Team Haaland, Kulusevski is a great cover for the Spurs attack.
Yeah, true.
So yeah. Now moving on to the next midfielder, which is Bukayo Saka. He's an interesting one. Last season he showed great form. He had good returns, goals as well as assists. This season, I believe he's on penalties. He's still one of the main attackers of Arsenal. However, at least for the very beginning of the season, I think he's playing a little bit wide. He's not going to get as many opportunities as he used to get before. However, from what I can see, the moment he gets those opportunities, he's the kind of player that goes towards the goal and he looks for the shot. He's a little bit selfish sometimes, but for us FPLers, this is a great thing to have actually.
Indeed.
So yeah, he is. I think he's a good asset overall, and considering he is on penalties, most probably he will deliver again this season.
Yeah, totally agree. Saka, I always liked Saka since the beginning. I think he's a good player. He likes to also to always dribble from the side and go into the box and always have a shot and maybe give an assist to one of his teammates. So yeah, I think he could be bringing us some good FPL points in the next coming fixture. Especially the next 5 are good fixtures on paper for Arsenal, including Bournemouth, Fulham, and Aston Villa in the next 5.
Exactly. All right, now moving on to our third midfielder. It's actually Luis Diaz. Once again, this is an interesting one because at the beginning everybody was between Robertson and Diaz as a third Liverpool spot. Now he blanked once and everybody's thinking of getting rid of him. Indeed, if you look at his stats, he had 0 goals, 0 assists, 2 shots, which none of them was on target. However, one of them actually did hit the crossbar and he had the goal that was cancelled. And he created 0 chances for his teammates. However, let's not forget why we bought him in the first place. Indeed, he did not deliver in the first game week, but he is a class player, he is a clinical player, he gets into position, he will get those chances again and again. If his last shot that hit the post went a few inches to the left, everybody would have been super happy and now people would have been transferring him in.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, if you have him, keep him, don't be in a rush to sell him. He's one of the 3 main attackers of Liverpool. He's priced at 8 million and they have a great set of fixtures ahead. So keep him if you have him. If you don't, try to look for the value midfielder or you might actually go for him as well.
Yeah.
Depending if you have the Liverpool spot or you want to go Nunes side or up to your managerial decisions.
Yeah.
Timo?
Yeah, I actually agree. If you do already have him as your third Liverpool player, I think you should keep him for a couple of more game weeks and see what's happening. Because the next 2, actually the next few fixtures actually are good for Liverpool. The only thing I would say that Darwin Núñez looks now a much better option as a third Liverpool player. But I wouldn't also rush to get him because you don't want to destroy your team just to get Darwin in. You will probably have to get like a few hits to get him in. So just wait and see. Maybe things will change. I am thinking of getting Núñez in the future, but not right away. Let's see how it goes in the next few matches.
Agreed. Yeah. And for the last midfielder within the 8 million category, spot will be Madison. Okay, now James Madison, he showed a very interesting first match. He actually picked up an assist against Brentford. He had 6 shots, of which one of them was on target. He created 5 chances for his teammates. He was on set pieces, he had a few good crosses, he generally looked very good. However, I wouldn't necessarily be in a rush to transfer him in now, considering now they will have a few difficult fixtures, like Arsenal away, Chelsea away, as well as Manchester United at home. So if you have him, you might want to wait and see how if he will keep on the good form. If not, I would not rush to get him whatsoever at this point. I think there's other valuable options at this price tag, and we might want to spend our money elsewhere.
Yeah. I think he's a good player. He did good in the first game, but within that price point, I think there's much better option otherwise. Example, the 3 other ones that we just mentioned before.
Yeah, I have to agree.
Okay, so I think we should move to the next slide, which is also going to be a midfielders, but within a lower budget. So let's go for that. Okay, so in our budget midfielder category, we have 3 players, starting with Martinelli. I think if you had Martinelli from the start, you are on a good track, because the guy scored 8 points from 1 goal he scored. He already had a price increase to a 6.1, and I think he looked very, very good. He created 1 chance for his teammates, and I think for his price at 6.1 million now, he's a very, very good asset. And as we said already, that Arsenal have some really good fixtures coming up. So I think if you have him, keep him and play him, because he will get you some returns. Anything else you want to add about Martinelli?
Generally speaking, I have to agree with everything you said. He looked very good as expected. He's been in those attacking positions very good and very often, actually. As long as Arsenal was attacking, he was a key point in their attack. The parts where Arsenal just sat back and accepted for Crystal to attack, he wasn't that involved, obviously, but overall, I think he's a great asset. He's an absolute bargain for 6 million, and from the looks of it, he will be having more attacking returns.
Yeah, great. So the next one on the list is Wang, which actually I was not considering at all in the beginning, but since he got an assist in the last match, he looked okay, and he's playing actually in an out of position, because he's listed as a midfielder on the FPL website, but he's playing instead of Jimenez in the front. So if anybody will score, it's probably going to be him, Neto, or Podence. As we saw, also Podence is the one who scored the goal, but we chose Wang specifically because of his out of position situation right now. He had 1 shot which was on target, and he created 2 chances. So if you're looking for a budget midfielder and you don't want to go for Neto or someone, or Martinelli or someone like that, and you want to take a punt on Wang, you can do so, since actually we'll have some good fixtures apart from Tottenham in game week 3. And yeah, that's pretty much it for Wang. Anything you would like to add?
Actually, I think you pretty much covered it. He's a great option. He's an okay option, actually, for a 6 million striker that plays now instead of Jimenez out of position. He can be a good option. Apart from this, I have nothing to add.
Okay, so let's move on to the last one, which is Rodrigo. I think Rodrigo was one of the players that impressed in Leeds. He looked good. He had 3 shots. One of them were on target, which he got the goal from. Got a 7 points. He's a very differential pick, because he's only at 1.4% ownership. If you're looking also for a differential budget option in the midfield, you can always go for him. And he's playing quite attack in the front. So if he continued to play in that well and showing that form, he could also bring us some good FPL points. But I wouldn't rush to get him. Let's see what Leeds do in the next upcoming fixture. They have a few good ones on paper. But it gets tougher with Chelsea and West Ham in the next four.
Yes, I have to agree with that. Yeah, I don't have much to add for Rodrigo. He just had a good preseason in which I believe he scored 5 goals. And in his first game week of Premier League, he continued the form. So this is the only thing that I can add, is that he's an informed player. And Leeds is looking better than they did in the first half of last season.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so let's move to the next category, which is the forwards, and let's see what we have.
All right. Okay, so in this slide we'll be talking about the premium forwards. To start off, Erling Haaland. He scored a brace in his opening match and his debut in the Premier League against West Ham. Despite the fact that the opposition defense was really focused on not giving him too much space, he managed to break through and had 2 good opportunities, one of which he converted into a penalty, which he scored himself, which is also a good sign for him that shows that he's on penalties. And the second one was with the amazing pass of Kevin De Bruyne behind the defense, and he just had all the time in the world considering how fast he is and how clinical he is. So I truly believe that he will be the focal point of Manchester City attack, and he will be delivering the goods throughout the season. He will have some times which he will be rotated, but at this point, looking at how he started the season and previous seasons that he had, I think he will definitely confirm as a great asset in FPL. Timo, any thoughts on that?
Well, the only thought is I regret didn't get Hull from the beginning. Yeah, he's a great player. He's very attacking. He scored his first brace in FPL. He had 5 shots on target, so everything looks good for him, and I think he will keep on continuing this form and get all the points in the world.
All right. Okay, now to move on to Harry Kane. Harry Kane, I know everybody already transferred him out. He went down in price with 0.1. He's now 11.4. Everybody was so disappointed that he was not able to. He did not have any return, despite the fact that his team scored 4 goals. However, I truly think that he's still a great FPL option. He showed it season after season over and over again that he is a scoring machine. And despite all the negative comments he got during Game Week 1, I truly believe that he will score a lot of goals and he will be involved in more assists, considering the great partnership that he has with Heung-min Son. So yeah, if you still have him, I can't really give an advice whether to go for Haaland or Kane. They're both great assets. Timo, any thoughts on Kane, or what's your position on him?
Well, personally, spoiler alert, I already transferred him out before the price fall, and I got Haaland instead for the Game Week 2. But I think it was just a freak that Spurs score 4 goals and none of them were Kane's or Son. I don't think that will happen too much in the future. So if you have him and you want to stick with him, I would say take the price fall on the chin and stick with your players and see how it goes. If not, you can always have the option to move to Haaland or another forward after that.
Indeed. Okay, now moving to our third choice, it's actually Darwin Núñez. He did start off the bench. However, he played for only 40 minutes, and I believe starting Game Week 2, 3, and so on, he will get more and more minutes. and within 40 minutes or slightly less, he actually scored one goal, had one assist for Salah's goal. He had 4 shots, 2 of which were on target. He also created 2 different chances for his teammates. He looks to be like the future focal point of the Liverpool attack. He showed great involvement. Let's not forget that Liverpool was not really playing that well before he came in. When he came in and replaced Roberto Firmino, everything changed basically. We saw a new Liverpool and with refreshed attack. Those forward runs with the pace that he has, and the more he will play, he will become even more clinical.
Yeah. I think Darwin Nunez is a great option, and I'm considering myself to get him at some point in the future. But I will have to think it over so not to rip up my team to get him.
Yeah. All right. To finish off, we have Gabriel Jesus. Despite the fact that he did not have any attacking returns, he showed that he can be very technical and he's very good on the ball, and he creates a lot of chances for his teammates. For me, he's a definite keep. I will not be in a rush to sell him, and I'm pretty confident that within the coming game weeks he will be bringing the goods home.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think despite the not returning any points this game week, he is actually the second highest player in the touches in the opposition box with 11. So even if the stats doesn't really tell us much, I think he's still gonna be a good asset and will get you some good points in the upcoming fixtures. Okay, so for this slide we're gonna go for the budget forwards, and for this one we chose 3 players. Starting off with Callum Wilson, actually from Newcastle. Callum Wilson actually is a very interesting pick because he's very low ownership, he's 3.8, and usually when he's fit, he's always scoring. He already scored his first goal in the opening game. He had 4 shots, 2 of them were on target, and created 2 chances. So as maybe a punt, he could be a very good budget option, although his price point is at 7.5, so it's maybe not easy to fit him in most of the team. But if you want to go a bit differential and take a punt on somebody, maybe Callum Wilson could be the one, since also Newcastle have a few good fixtures coming up and could get us some FPL points. What do you think?
Yeah, I truly think he is the main focal point of the Newcastle attack. They've been looking really sharp. They created lots of chances, and I believe that Wilson, as long as he will be fit to play, he will be delivering the goods. He's a good proven asset as long as he gets the minutes.
Yeah. Okay, so next one is actually Mitrovic, which I was really impressed with in the first game against Liverpool. I never thought that he could score 2 goals against Liverpool. But he got his first brace in FPL points, 13 points, with 3 shots, 2 on target, 1 chance created. So and he's only 13%. So, and he also had an increase in price. He's at 6.6 now. So to be honest, Mitrovic actually could be a good point. However, the next 2 are not bad on paper for Newcastle, which with Wolves and Brentford. But after that, it could be get a bit tougher. So if you want to take a punt also on a budget forward, you can always give it a try with Mitrovic. If he keeps his form and keep on scoring, I think he could also bring a lot of points. So let's see.
Yeah, I truly believe he is a good punt, actually. Personally, I don't think I'll be in a rush to get him. I still have some doubts regarding the Fulham attack. However, he looks like he's the main person that will be responsible with the goals for Fulham. So basically, in FPL, if you're a forward, doesn't really matter how many goals your team receives as long as you score. So he is on penalties, and I believe that he will be scoring in the coming future a decent amount of goals. For me, it's not really an option yet. I have other priorities as transfers. But if you're looking for a budget attacker, he is your man.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go to the final player, which is Welbeck from Brighton. And surprisingly, Welbeck looked really sharp in the first game week against Manchester United. On the other hand, Manchester United looks really disorganized. They were like leaking a lot of balls in the last third.
Yeah.
And Brighton to score 2 goals against them, that means that something needs to be fixed there. But despite that, Welbeck actually looks sharp. He had 5 shots in the match. He had 1 assist and created 3 chances. Although I think he could have got more if he actually converted any of the shots that he had. And with a ownership of 0.8, he's a great differential. So I don't know. I didn't think I would ever consider Welbeck as an FPL asset, but he proved me wrong in the first game week. Although, is he going to be able to continue that in the next coming weeks? I don't know. Especially with having Undav, the new signing in Brighton, then it could be a lot of rotation. Especially that Undav didn't play at all in the first match. So let's see.
Yeah, I'll have to agree with you on that. And if it wasn't for me being a little bit scared of the minutes, I would have said that he's the main budget attacking forward. Having this in mind, that Undav will play, I don't know exactly when he will be fit enough and ready to step into the Premier League. However, there is competition on that attacking position. Nevertheless, Welbeck has showed great form. He's been involved in almost all the attacks that Brighton had, and he just looked amazing. For me, him and Nunes had the biggest impact on the build-up and the team performance. For me, he looked just absolutely amazing. I'm just scared of those minutes. Apart from that, he's good.
Yeah, totally agree. Okay, so let's move on to the next one.
All right, now to move to our honorable mentions, I will start off with Harrison. He actually provided an assist in the first match. He was actually the highest player in the Premier League who had created chances. He had 6 chances created, and overall he looked good within the Leeds team. He seemed very involved and looks like a good asset. I think for 6 million he might be a good punt. I wouldn't be in a rush to get him. However, I believe he deserves to be on this list. Timo, any thoughts on him?
He looked good. He's quite differential with only 1.1 ownership. As you mentioned, he has the most number of chances created of all of all of Premier League. Leeds' upcoming fixtures are a bit mixed. Southampton could be a good fixture. Then it gets a bit tougher with Chelsea and West Ham in the next 4. So if I wouldn't go for him right away, because in the 6 million bracket, I think Martinelli is the best option so far. But it's a one to consider, I would say.
Okay. Now, moving on to the second player here, and he's actually my favorite player. It's Da Silva, the Brentford player. He was quite unlucky actually last season. He had fitness issues, and therefore he did not play as much as we all wanted. However, this year he has the number 10. He came in minute 60, if I'm not mistaken, and he provided a goal showing great. It was a very nice screamer, and he seemed to be involved in the Brentford attack. So, for considering his price with 4.5 million, he scored 6 points, and he's only selected by 2.2%. He looks like an absolute bargain. Now actually depends on you whether you want to go for 4.5 midfielders, him and Andreas, or you go only for one and you make your pick. I believe his minutes will increase with time. However, I don't know when, so for me, he's still a wait and see.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, Da Silva was on my radar even before the season started, because as I said, the last season he was injured and had fitness issue and couldn't play at all. But before that, the season before, he actually was one of the main men in Brentford. And Brentford, the next upcoming fixtures are also great, apart from maybe Manchester United. But since we saw Manchester United form were not great, so I wouldn't put it past him that he could do something if he starts and did the same thing as he did in game week 1.
Exactly. Okay, and to finish off, we have Podence. Podence, to be honest, I didn't really consider him at first. However, why I think Podence would have been a good choice is because the difference between him and Neto, considering they're both 5.5s, Neto is usually quite affected by Jimenez's minutes. In other words, when Jimenez and Neto are on the field, Neto tends to perform better. However, whenever Jimenez doesn't play, Neto doesn't have as good returns as he usually has.
Okay.
Now, Podence in his starting game week, he did score a goal. He had 3 shots, one of which was on target. He had created actually 3 chances for his teammates, which I think it's quite okay. And he looks like an interesting asset. Once again, it's a wait and see for me. I'm not in a rush to go into the 5.5 area.
Yeah, I agree. And as long as you have already Neto, I think you should stick with Neto for now, because even if he didn't get any returns, he still was the kind of the assist of the assister for the goal that Wolves had. So I think Podence could be an interesting pick, but I wouldn't rush to get him either for the time being.
Yeah, I have to agree.
Okay, and that's conclude our video for today. I hope you enjoyed what you saw today, and if you do, just drop us a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can get all the new videos. And also, we will be doing the game 1 results and the game week 2 transfer plans within a couple of days max. So stay tuned, and we'll be seeing you soon. Goodbye.
All right, goodbye.